Well, let's flash back to the 1999 U.S. Women's Open at Old Waverly Golf Club in West Point, Mississippi. In her 20th U.S. Open start, Juli Inkster won her first U.S. Women's Open by 5 strokes. At the age of 38, Juli broke the under-par scoring record of 272 to become the oldest champion since 1955. It was her 4th major victory and won her 5th just 3 weeks later. Then fast forward to 2002 at Prairie Dunes Country Club in Kansas. Juli won her 2nd U.S. Women's Open after firing a final round 66 to beat Annika Sorenstam by 2 strokes. It was the Hall of Famer's 7th and final major victory. And with that, Marks joined Babe Saharis as the only woman to win 2 majors after the age of 40. So with that, I am so pleased to welcome in the legend, 31-time LPGA Tour winner, including 7 major titles, Juli Inkster. It is such a pleasure to have you on this desk. This is such a huge week, such a huge moment in the women's game. Your connection with this championship is so deeply rooted. Even when you look back at that moment, like in 1999, what sort of emotions does this championship bring for you?
Well, I think, being an American, you always want to win your national championship. And like you said, it was my 20th. It wasn't like I rolled right out of being an LPGA pro and won the U.S. Open. So I was very persistent, resilient. I was 39 when I won my first Open, 2 kids. And, you just never know when you're going to get that opportunity to win an Open or if you're ever going to win an Open. And, I had a lot of success playing golf, and they didn't have my name on the U.S. Open trophy. And to be able to, especially, looking back on it, the older you get, the appreciation of winning a U.S. Open really means a lot, especially as an American.
You beat Kathy Whitworth to win your very first tournament on the LPGA by 1 shot.
That's good knowledge there, Brandel. Very good knowledge.
You won your last major beating Annika Sorenstam. You won your last tournament in 2006. I mean, that is spanning a lot of generations right there. How can you explain your longevity, given the fact that you had so many roles, mother, wife, tour player? How do you explain it?
Brian said I'm really not great on the wife part of it, but but I was pretty good on the mom part. So yeah, I have a passion for the game. I'm probably the only person that really likes to practice. I call it my church. I get out there; it's peaceful. I'll put my headphones on and listen to a Giants game or some music. And I love to compete. I didn't like the stuff from, flying to get to A to B and renting the cars and, all that stuff. But I love Thursday, teeing it up and having a chance to win. And I lost a lot. I mean, in golf, you win one or 2 times a year, you've had a great year. So, but I think it's the game, and I think that's the beauty of this game is you never really conquer it. And there's always that little carrot dangling out there that you can get better.
I know you touched on it a little bit, but since we're on the eve of the U.S. Women's Open, in 1999, on the eve of the U.S. Women's Open, you'd won 19 times, you'd won 3 majors, 3 U.S. amateurs, you'd done it all in the game. You'd had the U.S. Open in your grasp in 1992, and Patty Sheehan birdied the last 2 holes and beat you in a playoff.
Yeah.
So can you explain what it meant to you to be a U.S. Women's Open champion?
Well, it was funny. I'll never forget this. I was driving into Old Waverly by myself, and I already had a really good year. I was playing great. I think I already won a few times during that year, and I never forget. I was driving to Old Waverly, and I'm teeing it up for the first time, and I'm like, if you're ever going to win an Open, this is your year. I mean, you have to. Be resilient. You have to make those par putts when you probably should make bogey, and you have to have confidence. And I loved the golf course. I thought I was hitting the ball, my irons really well that week. And I'll never forget, it was like on the 2nd hole, I think it was a par 5, I had like a 4-footer for birdie. And I said, if you're going to win this tournament, you need to make these. And I made it, and I just played great. Just had a lot of confidence that week. And, it's still, I know I had a 5-shot lead going into Sunday, and as a golfer, you think about all the ways you could screw it up. Instead of saying, I could win by 10, I'm thinking, okay, I could, screw this up. And I did. I had a talk with myself because I was leaking oil. I had a talk with myself going to 7 and 8. Don't get me, I don't talk to myself a lot, but that week I did. I said, you're playing scared. And, just go out there. You've been playing great all week. Play aggressive. And sometimes you just need to have that little kick in the rear end. And being able to win the Open meant a great deal for me.
Julie, you won the bulk of your majors as a mom. You're one of the few women who have won this championship as a mom. Amy Olsen is playing, of course, 7 months pregnant this week. First of all, what was it like playing in majors pregnant, number one? And number two, what's your best advice that you give to moms out here trying to do it all?
Well, it took me a while to learn this. The kids really don't know what you do. They don't realize that not every kid travels week to week and sleeps in a different hotel room and, goes to a different daycare set up every week. I remember Haley was doing a passport thing in 2nd grade, and, hers was like this. And a lot of kids never been out of the country or out of the state. And it took me a long time to really realize as long as they're with you, it doesn't really matter where you're at. And, my kids now are 29 and 33, and I'm drinking with them, and we're having fun, and they're both married. And I really did think I was going to raise a couple psycho kids because, I hadn't done any of this, but they're actually pretty normal. So, yeah. So it's been a great journey. It's been a tough journey. I mean, I won a lot, and then when I had kids, I didn't win at all for 5 years. And so there's a good chance that, I was like, maybe I'll just quit. But I'm no quitter, so I rededicated myself to golf and took them on the road, and the rest is history.
It's such an inspiration. I mean, as working mums, I think so many of us have looked up to you and think, well, if Julie can do it, someone can do it, but you're made of something very special. And by the way, I think, aren't all kids psychos? My 2-year-old is definitely a psycho. But looking at something that we were just talking about at the top of the show, it's sort of the dominance and the parity that we're seeing in the women's game right now. You are one of the leading names, one of the legends of women's US golf, and we haven't had that dominant figure in such a long time now. Do you think we will ever see it in the women's game? Does it need it, or is parity sort of the future of the LPGA?
I think every sport needs a dominant player. I think it draws viewership. People want to watch. I think Rose Zhang is, she's got a lot on her plate. She's very young, but I was just listening to some of the PGA players saying, "Well, who are you picking this week?" And they go, "Rose Zhang." I mean, for them to know Rose Zhang, I think it means a lot. But we don't want to put too much on her right now. But I think, having Lorena and Annika and Sari and, I think Kari Webb, I think it's great to have a dominant player. But, right now we've got so many really good top players that anybody could win on a given day. And I'm really looking forward to see who's going to raise that trophy on Sunday.
Julie, you grew up not too far from here.
Yeah.
Played one of the great courses of all time, Paso Tiempo. But you won the Cal State Amateur right here, didn't you? So 2 questions. What are your thoughts in general about Pebble Beach? And more specifically, what was your thought when you heard that the U.S. Women's Open is going to be contested here at Pebble Beach?
Well, I was thinking how old I was going to be if I could try to go. But I'm super happy I'm on this side and not on that side. I think just the history of Pebble Beach, the Jack Nicklaus and the Tom Watsons and the Tom Kites and the Tigers, just the iconic people that have won on this golf course. I just think you can go anywhere in the world and people know Pebble Beach from just watching it. So I was super bummed that it took us so long to get here, but I'm super excited that it's in the rotation. These ladies are going to be able to play it because a lot of these, our tour is very diversified, and a lot of these players have never seen Pebble, only on TV. And to be able for them to come out here, play this golf course, I just think it's a golf course can change from 1 to 18 so quick. The weather fog can roll in, can roll out. I think it's the small greens. It's a ball striker's paradise. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, some of the all-time greats that have won on this layout, Julie, and you are one of the absolute all-time greats of this game, without a shadow of a doubt. We really appreciate your time. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.